That's a great question. It's fairly consistent across other programs I've been. There is a relationship between tight ends and tackles, especially when you get into 12 personnel and some heavier personnel settings. 11 can be kind of deceptive because there's sometimes it's attached, sometimes it's flexed. It kind of depends on the formation. But in terms of Tanner, what he's really given to the program the last 2 years, he's kind of a quiet type last year and just solid role guy, kind of behind Tip and learn from Tip. And that what he did in the Mountain West Conference, that's kind of near and dear to my heart, right, where I played and where I've coached. And so watch him have the success he's had has really been encouraging, and even just little things in practice that catch your eye. Tight ends aren't asked to pass protect very often, especially in a drop back situation. And Tanner will come down and rep with us on one-on-ones, and he did some individual work with us today, and just kind of the backside of protections and just the technique he has, the detail he has. It's really impressive. And so when you see it this far in fall camp and some of our run action stuff, it's been really awesome for him to have that type of success. And I think his teammates obviously recognize that and was voted a captain. So really, the relationship with him is awesome. It's great. My tackles appreciate when he's there next to him, right, and they can count on him to get a down block or secure an edge or something of that nature. So it's critical to the success of our run game.
Tackles you brought in obviously to make a big impact, Bart, but just how do you feel about them just a couple, 10, 12 days away from what do they add to you?
Consistency is is probably the biggest thing that they've brought in their short time here. They're very talented. They've got a unique skill set. Each of them is different style of player, and they've gotten better in their respective weaknesses, right? And JC, everyone knew he could pass protect, right? He's one of the best in the country, and he shows that. I do think there's some things we have to clean up with some of his technique, right? He got away with some things at times, and he's athletic enough that he can recover when he does have a deficiency, but we got to improve some of that, and some of the fundamentals and the technique is just continuing to hone that. What I've been impressed with him is really his devotion to getting better and more physical in the run game and just finishing his blocks. And we have a standard here. It's been set since we got here, and we compete for knockdowns. We compete for the knockdown cup that you guys made a big deal about, and that's a point of pride. And he's really, I kind of embraced that. And you've seen some of the things in practice that I didn't see it on the New Mexico film, right? And so really pleased with where he's come. Melvin's kind of the same way. He's much more violent, at least initially on his strike, and he's very explosive. His was consistency with his steps, with his pass protection, things of that nature, and you're starting to see him get better and better every day on the little things, his footwork, right? I mean, everybody kind of made this comment, he's talented, but he's raw. Well, he's maturing in that sense, and he's not as raw anymore, right? He's getting prepared, right? And I think you're seeing that every day. So encouraged by both of them. I'm excited to see them play against some of the competition we're going to see, and they also add some leadership because they have played a lot of football. Even it's not been in Illinois, but they have played a lot of football in their careers.
I know Josh. Go ahead. Sorry, but Josh, TJ is getting a lot of reps at center. I know some other guys are getting reps at center.
Yeah.
What are you seeing out of those guys with that increased reps and responsibility?
Well, TJ's had to take some ownership, right? And in the past, he's always just kind of been the role guy behind Josh. Well, now he's leading the way, and so he's got to make those calls. He's got to have the command of the line that Josh has, and because we're not slowing down. It's a next man up kind of mentality, and so he's taking a lot of ownership in terms of getting himself prepared mentally for what he's going to see and the looks he's going to see. He'll come over and talk to me about certain things, difficult looks like with motions and how the box changes and the safety rotations and stuff. He never really, we asked him to know it, but never really tested him if he did know it. Right now he's being, under the fire, under the microscope every day on that. And then a guy like Brandon Henderson, who has played every position, now you can add center to his repertoire, right? So he's quite the Swiss Army knife in there, but he has really come on in the first couple of days. First day I think he only had one bad snap, and so naturally the next day you kind of cross your fingers. But it was a little bit rougher, right? And then it's gotten better and better every day, and I don't think you had one today. So there's a lot of good things you're seeing. The guys like Kevin Wigington, who have played center before, that gives you some expertise in that area too. So. Didn't want that situation to happen, obviously, with Josh. We're glad it's not long term, but at the same time, it does allow you to develop certain guys in case it happens again.
I know all your players have been different, but are you seeing a lot of in recruits what you saw in Doug? I mean, just from a leadership standpoint?
Yeah.
Or are they different?
They're different people, different personalities, but you're seeing the same type of ownership. Mm-hmm. I think Doug had Vidarian, Doug had Palcho with him on that line that added. They kind of, they were brought up together in this program, and so when their senior years, there was a lot of leadership on the line. And Doug was really, him and I had a relationship, right? So we, I think, had a little bit better connection initially. I've been with Josh his whole career, and so he's seen Doug, he's seen Pill. He grew through the learning experiences of last year and the highs and the lows, and has really taken the ownership. And then him and I have a good relationship now where it's collaborative, coming back and forth on stuff. He'll ask if can I do this? I saw this. What do you think of this? It's a lot of give and take, like we did with Doug. But that first year, we're implementing a system, right? And the system's in now. Cruz has been in it for 3 years. He knows it very well, and so there's a little bit more back and forth there.
Am I wrong? I've only seen a couple of practices, but am I wrong that Josh Geske is taking a big step forward?
Oh, 100%.
In what way?
He's elevated his game even since the spring, and I think you saw a jump from fall to spring. He's always been a strong weight room guy. He's always been a good off-season guy. What he worked on was using that bringing that to the field, right? He's always been great in the squat rack. He can show explosion and show power in the weight room, but it never really transferred. If you go back and watch his film last year, and I'm not telling you anything I hadn't told him, he never brought his hips with him. Right now, you're starting to see him bring the full force of Josh Geske into a block, and it's impressive, and he's got great body control on some of his pulls. He was a little sporadic last year. It was like he's trying to get over there as opposed to being under control and knowing that he can execute that block, right? And he's matured, he's developed as a player, but also I think as a total football player, right? His football IQ's higher. He understands motions are going to change the box. He understands there's going to be D-line movement. He's not just playing. He knows the game, and so you've seen a really big jump with him, and it's continued into fall, and to the point where there's really not a competition there anymore.
Brendan has played 5 spots now. What's allowed him to handle that, and what do you think of how he's handled it and played this?
Well, number one, he's an incredibly intelligent man, but also a football player, right? His program, they do a great job. Obviously, East St. Louis does a great job down there of exposing those guys to a variety of different teams and different things. But he came in intelligent. He had a really good freshman year, and kind of, you hate to say this, but not plateaued, but maybe freshman year caught up with him a little bit, and then he had to learn what being a college football player was about. And then, in the spring when we repped him with some ones, he didn't have as good a spring as maybe I would have hoped. And went through some ups and downs there, and then came back this summer, and it was like a different guy. He was a much more focused, much more purposeful player in the way he approached everything. And then his attitude into fall camp has been awesome. We've played him at a variety of positions. He's embraced it. When I asked him to go center, he goes, "Okay, I'll try it." And just the willingness to help the team. But I think it also shows his versatility. He's very good at those interior positions, but he's also athletic enough he can go out and be an edge guy, right? And you saw some of that today later in practice where we're trying to get him some left tackle work too. So really a very talented player that we're going to have a choice to make here at some point. But really proud of him and just his maturity, he's able to handle that.